What's going on, moms and dads? Welcome to the Fade You podcast. This is episode 146, coming to you on Thursday, September 15th, 2022. On this episode, we are looking ahead to week 2. We are recording just prior to the Chiefs-Chargers kickoff, so we'll see what happens in that AFC West battle, but we're going to look ahead to the rest of the slate, talk about leans we have going into week 2 of the Westgate Super Contest. Make sure you're following us on Twitter at FadeUSports. Get on our YouTube, our TikTok on there as well. We appreciate all your guys' support and for listening and hearing what we have to say in this wacky, crazy NFL season. This shit's tough, but we're going to do our best. My name is Matthew James, joined on the pod by Chris Duke. He is at HazmatSuit23 on Twitter, and he is awaiting his MRI results. Dad, how's the old Achilles feeling?
Good enough for me to have this table back here. I'm going to Buffalo Bill that motherfucker later if the results are good. No, ready, baby. I'm hoping it's not too bad. Get a boot on it, hobble around the Fresno USC game with you guys, have some beers, and let's have a great weekend.
It'll be a wonderful time for the dads at the Coliseum on Saturday. Speaking of which, we got Kmart here, Kmart's_Angles on Twitter, our resident USC homer. Kyle, you can go get fucked on Saturday for all I care.
Well, if they lose, I'll want to get fucked because I'll be pretty pissed. But, I mean, I have Fresno State plus 13, so, I mean, it's somewhat of a win-win, either way. But, yeah, no, either way, it's going to be fun with you guys. I'm really looking forward to just, smashing as many beers as possible.
Beautiful. We're also just so thrilled tonight to be joined. He's on the road. He's working his ass off. Not really. He's just going to get drunk at all these different bars. He is Joe_knows___ on Twitter. He's still in Chicago for one more day. Joe, how's it going out there in the Midwest? You missed California yet?
Oh, fuck, man. It's been a long few days. I've been in the Midwest since Saturday. Been in 4 different cities and 3 different hotels. It's been an absolute nightmare. But, yeah, I am working my ass off, but I'm also getting drunk. Those things can happen simultaneously, which they are.
Love to see it. I mean, it's a must for a trip back there in the Windy City. So we can't wait to have Joe back. He'll be back in California tomorrow, just in time to go watch the Bulldogs and the Trojans on Saturday. But we're not talking about college football right now. We're talking about the NFL. We're talking about week 2. Last week was a very successful week for most of the dads last week in the Super Contest. Yours truly, 4-1. Chris Duke, 4-1. Chris and the Freck. Joe and Jared, 4-1, working together. Kmart, Neil, 2-3. That's what you get for submitting Thursday, Kmart. You learn your lesson? You stayed away from this one?
Yeah, learned my lesson. I mean, the Rams was definitely on me, but I still had a good Sunday going 3-0, so I said it last year. Contest is for fun. If we do well, we do well. If not, whatever.
Contest is not for fun. It's for winners and it's losers. And last year we were a bunch of losers. So this year, someone's finishing in the money. Joe, you finished best last year and tied for first this week. So you get to go first, Dad. What are you looking at for week 2?
So, yeah, I appreciate it. And, dude, I'm just kind of I'm upset I wasn't on the other pod because 4-1 could have easily been 5-0, like you said on the other pod. The Raiders just 2-point conversion away from 5-0. But, yeah, so this week we've only locked in 1, which is a little concerning because this week is fucking weird with all these huge spreads. But we are going to go – our only lock is Denver minus 10. We're going to lay the points with that. Or is in the Super Contest, is it 9.5 or is it 10?
It's 10.
10?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. We're still going to do it. I think it's a big bounce back game. Everybody saw Russell Wilson look like shit on Monday Night Football. Fucking they couldn't stop Seattle. So, I mean, why can't Houston come into Denver and beat them, right, and cover that spread? So, I think Houston's going to be a square dog come game time. 56% of bets, 71% of money on Houston plus 10. Also, can't forget Denver on Monday night. 2 turnovers going into score. How often does that happen? That takes 14 points right off the board, changes the outcome completely. And they played in a tough environment on Monday night. So they'll be back in the confines, Mile High. Houston going there. I think that's an advantage Broncos, and I think they're going to cover the spread here. So hopefully they can win by plus.
Chris, are you looking the other way at all? I mean, this is poop. Texans. Joe is right. It seems like a lot of people are going to take the points. People don't want to lay a huge number in week 2 on a team that just lost on Monday Night Football to a team that's supposed to be bad. You considering Texans at all in yours?
I'm not. I know we talked about it the other night, how Broncos early on in the year in September at home have been really good against the spread. It's just 2 fluke games. Like, nobody expected the Texans to do what they did. Nobody expected the Broncos to play as shitty as they did and do it. Like Joe said, those 2 turnovers inside the one was that the first time it's happened in like 20-something years. So, yeah, I'm probably a stay away. I know I lean Denver, but it's hard because I do want to play one of these big faves. I just don't know if it'll be Denver. So, not sure.
And don't get me wrong, I fucking despise laying 10 points. But if you're going to do it against the fucking Houston Texans on the road. I think that's a logical time to do it. And I just keep hoping people are hammering Texans throughout the week. And bet what you just saw, right? That's how you win.
Yeah, not so much. The only other thing that I would add is that you've got to be a little concerned with Houston. Really, there's 4 teams that played deep into, if not all of overtime last week in week 1. And Houston is one of those teams, and they're going on the road to Mile High, which, like you guys have mentioned, is not an easy place to go and play early in the season when you're still kind of getting your legs under you, your conditioning back. So you got to wonder about a team that played all of overtime, now going on the road to play in altitude. So I don't hate that pick at all. I think that might be in multiple entries. I know that's what I'm considering as well. Another one I'm considering, we'll move on. I'm going to go ahead and steal this one from you, Kmart, and you can kind of add your 2 cents. I'm liking my Jameis Winston-led New Orleans Saints. They have had a ton of success, definitely in the last couple of years against Brady and the Bucs. And people might be saying, but it's a new coach, and that doesn't count. Well, the defensive coordinator from the last couple of years is now the head coach. So you know that they've got some kind of defensive game plan that works against Tampa Bay for whatever reason. That's not the only reason. The Bucs injury report, especially on offense, is very concerning. They had multiple wide receivers not practice yesterday or today, including Julio Jones and Mike Evans. So the injury report, maybe cluster injuries at wide receiver. The Saints' track record against the Bucs. Saints at home. We love home division dogs early in the season. I think New Orleans is probably going to be in my entry.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that's my best bet too. Just as Joe said, bet what you just saw. I think if you actually look at how the Bucs played, they didn't really play very well. Bunch of injuries. I've had this week 2 matchup circled for probably about a month now, so I'm not deviating. Definitely not going to overreact to what the Saints look like. Whether they're overlooking or whatnot. I got them at +3 yesterday. I'll still take them 2.5 in the contest. I'm not too worried about it because I think they win this thing outright.
I would also add that I think for people who are listening, not in the contest and wanting action on this, the Saints are a great teaser leg. I think the total's 44, so it's not like it's a sky high total. Tease the Saints up through the 3, through the 7. I think that's a great way to play this one too.
Yeah, I like it too, Matt. I like it. I don't love it. I'll probably have to sell a little bit to Jared or see what he has. But yeah, most of the bets are on the Bucs right now,
of course,
as you would think. But there's a lot more money on the Saints, so you got to think that the whales are probably looking at the Saints here. And yeah, I think I like it. I don't love it, like I said. And what people like, dude, the Bucs scored 19 points on Sunday Night Football. Like, if you score 19 points, you got to think that the fighting Jameis Winstons can get, 17 to cover that spread, right?
I think anytime you have a team that kind of dominated on Sunday night when everyone was watching in one of those primetime island games. You got to look for an inflated spread. And I don't know that 2.5 is an inflated spread. I think this number's about right, but I think this is one that the Saints have definitely owned this matchup. They've done very well against NFC South opponents against the spread the last couple of years. So I will hop aboard the Jameis coaster, and I will put my hands up and have a swell time with that one on Sunday.
This is the den play of the weekend, right? We got to think he's going to – there's no way he's not on Tampa.
What do you think, Chris?
On Sunday night –
yeah, I think that was in his original 5 that he sent, right? Bucks? Yeah, so that's probably going to be there, and I don't know why he wouldn't lay a short road fave like that, especially he sees that under the 3. Free money, right?
Oh, yeah. All right, Chris, you're up next. What are you guys looking at?
Let's let Neil go next.
Oh, he doesn't even know. He has no idea. Chris is just trying to figure out how to get Amazon Prime, everybody.
No, I'm just kidding. I'll go. I just don't want this fucking noise. I don't know why my phone connects to this bullshit. And someone's sending a chug in our fantasy idiot fuck. But I guess I'll go with the I think Riley and I will probably – one of the ones he first texted was the Patriots, a little bit of RLM. I heard something like 60 or 70% of the tickets or more are on the Steelers, yet the line keeps going towards the Patriots, up from 1.5 to 2 to 2.5. So I think that's our stinky play. There's a good angle for week 2 when in week 1 teams get blown out by more than 20 like the Patriots did to take them, especially when it's a smelly line like this. So Patriots will be in there, I'm pretty sure, baby.
Am I wrong, or did the Patriots lose by 14?
Yeah, but I mean, they had a couple miscues, a lot of miscues.
Wasn't it like 23-7 or something like that? Wasn't it?
You said 20, Chris. If they get blown out by 20, they lost 20-7.
Oh, I thought I saw 23-7. Okay, it's 2 touchdowns or more. I think I heard
still not 20.
Applebaum say something about I think it's 2 scores or more, but that's what he said. I went off his fucking data. Fuck him.
Dick line, dude. Just looking at that, like, what do you think the public's thinking looking at that? That Bill Belichick is just that, and the fucking Steelers are an abomination, or what?
I mean, it's just fun. Like, so far, all 3 of you, like, if there were 3 games I was going to talk about, it was going to be probably those. I mean, Saints, then I was telling Matt, Broncos, and then I'm sitting here thinking, like, oh, I guess I can touch on the Patriots, and it's more of the same kind of trends. Just,
I'm sorry, Dad.
Give
us a new one? We're ready for your.
Well, I'm going to let Neil go, but I just want to touch on yours. Just, I would probably be inclined to bet the Steelers here if TJ Watt didn't tear his tit. Like, I'd have to, but they were up, I think 17-3 when that injury happened, and the Bengals were able to come back and probably should have won that game, not once but twice. So I think their defense goes a lot with him because obviously he's a force. So to me, it's Patriots. I think they have a lot more to lose. They don't want to start 0-2, yada yada yada. But Neil, take it away. What are you on?
So we'll see how controversial this comes in, because I think I shocked Kyle a little bit earlier. I think my best bet of the weekend, I'm going to take the New York Football Giants laying 2 at home. It's a little it's Chris is saying it's smelly. I get that it's a little smelly. So if you remember, we go back, and I think Chris and Matt, we did a pod at the beginning of the season. Now, it didn't turn out the way I wanted. We looked to sort of like a week 2 look ahead, and my week 2 look ahead was if Baker beats Cleveland in that triumphant game for his career, and then I was hoping that the Giants were going to get their ass kicked in week 1, and I was going to love taking the Giants. Well, the opposite happened in both situations. You had Carolina lose close, and then you had the Giants sneak one out there at the end by Dayball going for it and going for 2. I still like the spot. I think look ahead. I think this was closer to a pick 'em, and now I'm laying 2. But I think you have the Giants coming home. There was, just like this thing similar to the Detroit game where you had a team that was sort of preseason was looked at as a bounce back spot. We've said the Giants season win total line was smelly, right? How does a team that only, won 4 games and looked horrible last year, how were they, tagged at 7.5 wins on the season? I think this is a better spot. This isn't a fat and happy spot for the Giants. Like, they're coming together. Barkley looked great. Like, it's just going to be square and it's going to be smelly, but I think this is a spot for the Giants that they take care of business. It's 2 points, win by a field goal. The more and more I looked at this line, and I loved it. By the way, Matt Rule, for what it's worth, did you guys hear the stat? He's 0-8 in his last 8 games ATS. For good old Matt.
That's because he had Cam Newton for a lot of those.
Neil, it's not square though. It's not.
I love it. There you go. See, Kyle?
Carolina's a square dog.
I don't hate it. I was just shocked.
You were shocked. I get it.
Wow, square dog. Wow, Daniel Jones is a fucking killer at homeland points for sure.
I mean, Neil, you kind of gave it away on Wednesday when you said, is he Danny Quarters now? So I know you got a little bit of a chub for this kid, which is fine.
But it does. I think there was some crazy stat. Chris mentioned it. Like, Danny Dimes has been a road hero covering. He has been awful at home. So that does scare me, and it was something I considered.
Neil, last 15. So last 15 games, Giants is a favorite. What would you guess their ATS is in the last 15 games?
5-10.
Yeah, something around there. 6-9,
4-10 and 1.
Oof,
that was close.
You were very close. Yeah, good luck with that.
So you're saying there's a chance?
I mean, if you're gonna.
So is this a stay? Is this a stay away, Matt, or is this like you?
For me, it
are
probably
is. Contemplating the other side or stay away.
Well, here, what's the line if the Giants don't get the 2-point conversion and the Panthers don't get a 58-yard game-winning field goal against them? If these records are flipped, what's the line?
What was the look ahead?
Pick. It was pick. Neil was right. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's 2 points, so yeah. I mean, not
right.
And it's already come down to 1.5. Like I said, Carolina is getting a ton of money in bets. So I think the line's being adjusted back down because of that. I think if it continues this way, Carolina's going to be a square dog.
To answer Neil, yes. In a game where it's Baker and Daniel laying points, yes, I'll stay away.
But
even Poop King himself.
Yeah, he'll lay points or he'll fucking catch points. Oh yeah, never mind. I was going to make a different point. Disregard.
I mean, it's a really interesting game to debate because it's like it's kind of like the Lions, right? How do I feel good about laying the points with this team? But
dude, yeah,
can you feel good about betting the other team either? Like Carolina, I think, is the worst ATS in the league. Past 2, so you include last season, the Panthers, and to Kyle's point, yes, they had Cam Newton, but I think it's an indictment of this coach. 5-13 ATS last 2 seasons. Jesus Christ.
He's going back to Baylor.
Yeah, Detroit. First
coach fired. Yeah.
Yeah, Detroit, first time they're favored in like 25 games. Just throw that
let's see. So we had Joe talk about the Broncos. I talked about Saints. Neil talked about Giants. Chris, you talked about
Patriots.
Kmart, did you want to add one more, or did we kind of steal all the ones that you were gonna?
I mean, the only one I did yesterday place a bet on the Cardinals +6. So I am no way in hell going to play this at +5.5 in the contest, but at 6, it was worth the risk. I like that key number for whatever reason, probably because Matt, when you and I had a chance to win this stupid contest a few years ago, we lost a lot of games on that 6. So I take that value, a lot to heart nowadays. But Cardinals looked like shit against one of the best teams in the league for sure. You can overreact to both, but I just don't think the Raiders, even at home, are 6 points better than the Cardinals. They just got to figure out how to, I think, play football without Hopkins. It seems, at the end of last year, their playoff game without Hopkins, when it was his hamstring, they struggled. So I don't know if it's feeding Connor the ball. They're going to have to find a way to get Hollywood Brown the ball more instead of always wanting to give him the ball on deep routes. So someone's going to have to go over the middle. Someone's going to have to be that possession receiver, keep the drives alive. And if they can do that, I think they can cover. If they can't, Raiders probably win by 10. But I like the 6, and that's pretty much why.
Hey, Chris, 5.5.
Careful.
Dead number, baby.
Dead number, right? I actually don't hate that. And I mean, it's kind of gross because the Cardinals looked like they were one of the teams that looked the worst last week, probably. Played the Chiefs. For whatever reason, they play better on the road. They are shitty at home, and Cliff's road ATS is really good. It's like 70%. Under Kingsbury, they're 17-7-1 ATS on the road. And the Raiders, here's one for you. Raiders, last 10 as a favorite. How's 1-9 ATS?
Fuck.
Sounds like Neil's 4-10-1 is a lock.
Dude,
I
think this is the highest total of the week other than this Thursday game we're about to watch, 51.5. So if you're going to bet, you think there's going to be a lot of scoring, I mean, that's prime for a favorite to cover, but I don't know.
Yeah, the Raiders, I mean, it's like, do you trust – we know the Cardinals were probably overrated going into the season. Do you trust the Raiders to cover this? And they've not done well as a favorite, as we just talked about. So, Kyle, I don't hate that one. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it. Kind of feels like I can't, but sometimes those are the best plays.
Right, you're right. I mean, the best ones are probably the ones that scare you a little bit. The ones that seem like a lock are the ones that more times than not end up losing, and you're sitting there, how did it lose?
Gross bets, gross profits.
Well, yeah, true. We should talk about Dallas and Cincinnati. Can we do that?
We can touch on gross. That. Perfect.
Yeah, that's Cooper Rush. Anyone?
Did it to us a lot last year. Why not again? I mean, Cowboys a week ago were favored by 2.5. Now it's 7 or more. So, I mean, that's prime for our fade the injury narrative. I mean, we've lost a lot not fading that narrative.
I think that Leprechaun can get you one cover.
Dude, what's fucked up? You say Leprechaun, first thing that comes to mind is Andy Dalton.
Andy Dalton, that's what I was thinking, and I had to correct myself real quick.
I'm fucking me here, but I think I like Dallas. The Bengals are going to be square as fuck. So, I mean, I don't know. Can Dallas pull their cocks out at home?
I wouldn't be surprised if people are wanting to bet this game. I would not be surprised if it somehow went to like 9. That could be teaser protection for the books.
But didn't this
already? Because everyone's going to tease Cincy down.
But this already jumped to 9 earlier in the week, like right after it happened. I think on Monday it jumped to 9, and then has slowly been trickling back down. And I saw an 8, and now a 7.5. Like I think it initially jumped to 9.
Yeah. So on the 14th at 9 a.m. it was 8.5.
Okay.
That's yesterday.
What is it right now? Because what I don't get is if it's 7.5 right now, why in the fuck did the contest say, well, we'll fuck your hook. We'll go ahead, take the Bengals. We'll give you 7. We'll let you lay that touchdown and push. Like, get the fuck out of here. I don't know. We have a buddy, you guys, Cox, your boy. Like I was texting him. He's got a good line on Cincy, minus 2.5 or 3 before the Dak news or something. Maybe plus one.
Plus 2.5.
Yeah, plus 2.5. And now he's like, the only way I lose is if the Cowboys went outright. That's not going to happen, though, right?
Simply no way, right, Chris? It's interesting that the Westgate is the only book at 7. That's why it is for contest, probably. Circa, this is still 7.5. South Point 7.5, Caesar 7.5, WinBet's at 7, DraftKings is at 7, but it's a little bit split. Yeah, the backup quarterback, right? Like, isn't the narrative that teams can kind of rise up that next week after losing their quarterback? And I don't know. A couple other ones I think we could rapid fire real quick just to at least acknowledge. The Niners are down to 8.5 at most books. That could be because of potential weather in Northern California. The Niners might get rain again. That could happen.
That won't affect them.
Let's see. I think the only other ones, Detroit is down to 1.5. That's pretty inconsequential. The Monday night game has been hit a little bit. I think Philly was
2 Monday nights.
It's now
yeah. Which one?
2 Monday nights. Yeah. The Bills are still holding steady across 10 or around 10. We can kind of wind down. Does everybody want to? Why don't we talk about the Sunday night game? Since that's probably going to be a big decision for the books, right? You have Green Bay as a big favorite at home in a primetime game. Gosh, I wonder if that's ever happened before. And they're off of getting their ass kicked in week 1, which is exactly what happened last year. Joe, are you seeing something similar with the dog and this one that we talked about with Denver? Do you see people actually taking the points with the Bears because A, they won last week, and B, the Packers look so shitty against Minnesota?
No, it's a little different. It's similar but different because it's a division game. So
yep.
I think that's the big difference. If you look at Aaron Rodgers' ATS in division games, it's fucking ridiculous, and specifically against the Bears. Yeah, and
that's
after a
the
loss,
I own you game.
Exactly. We could look at last year, the fucking Packers, like you said, Packers lost week 1, beat the shit out of whoever they played in week 2. So I think it's more of a bounce back week. A lot of money is coming on the Packers and a lot of bets on the fucking Bears. So the public's looking, hey, Bears looked good. They beat the Niners. Green Bay looked like shit. So why don't we just take the Bears and the double-digit fucking dog? So I don't know, but maybe there'll be a square dog. I don't know.
Chris, you see this being one that Team Fade Den is going to have to maybe say a Hail Mary, an Our Father?
Yeah, I don't think there's any chance. Old Denny's going to go take the Bears. He's stubborn. In his 5, he's still on the Colts, even though, they did what they did. He was he just goes back to those teams he thinks. We've seen it in years past with the Chiefs, even though the Chiefs just fucked him week after week. He'd be like, oh, it's going to regress, right? And it's only 4.5 at home. They got to win by 5, right? So, yeah, I think he'll be coming back on. And because this is what he does, so he faded Packers last week, right? And I did hear it really did become Vikings ended up being a pros and Joe's side. And that's like we see that every once in a while that when the pros and the Joes are on the same side, the books get killed. But he faded the Packers, won money. Now he's gonna go, okay, now I'll hop on them, right? It's gonna regress back. We'll see. I don't know if I'm touching this. I don't know about you guys. Yeah, like Joe said, I heard that it is kind of a public dog, but the Vegas always wants the dog because it's going to be in every fucking money line parlay and probably so they're going to want the Bears to win outright anyways for a huge result like the Seattle did on Monday night. So always side with the doggy there in prime time.
All right. That's our week 2 look ahead in the books. We're going to probably try to come back Sunday night, maybe after the Packers do whatever they want with the Bears. And we'll recap week 2, maybe look ahead to the Monday night game. So thanks, everybody, for checking out our week 2 preview. Good luck to all the dads in the super contest. Good luck to all the listeners with your bets. We hope you guys win some money. And we'll see you after all this week 2 craziness is over.